Now everyone, let's start please here. Now we are doing something called as audit of different entities. Let's go ahead. Isme government audit part is done, so I'll skip that part for the time being, and let's go ahead with the next area, and that was in relation to audit of local bodies. ठीक है? Now local body के audit में you have to remember that there are the spread of the answers you should know properly. ठीक है? तो मैं हमेशा ना ऐसे लिखूंगा यहाँ पे जिसमें तुम लोग को हेल्प हो यहाँ पे याद करने में. फर्स्ट लोकल बॉडी में जो पहला आंसर आता है दैट इज द डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ ग्रांट्स दैट द local body can receive. So यहाँ पे the first answer will be in relation to categories of grants. तो पहला आ जाएगा यहाँ पे categories of grants. So students who are doing this chapter with me for the first time always know the spread of this chapter properly. Spread का मतलब क्या है कि सर अगर एग्जाम में लोकल बॉडीज का क्वेश्चन आया, लोकल बॉडीज, तो लोकल बॉडी का क्वेश्चन कौन से प्रकार का आ सकता है? What all questions can come from this local body part? So first is categories of grants. Categories of grants आपको मिलेगा यहाँ पे. You will see this general purpose grant, specific purpose grant, statutory and compensatory grant. ठीक है? General purpose grant means whatever the state government gives a local body on a general basis. Sanitation city में maintain करने के लिए, city में water supply continuous रखने के लिए, government hospital, government school चलाने के लिए. So what that is called general purpose grant. Specific purpose grant is when the local body has incurred a certain expenditure and or some calamity has come and they want some money on urgent basis from the state government. That is called specific purpose grant. Uska ek karan rahega. The grant will have some reason for that. And the third is statutory and compensatory grant. That is basically, suppose the local body was earning some money by way of tax. Let's say octroi duty से वो कुछ पैसा कमा रहे थे. And let's say any vehicle that enters, any truck that enters मुंबई के बॉर्डर से अंदर आ रहा है, ट्रक ने जो भी यहाँ पे टोल का पैसा भर दिया उसमें let's say 70% was going to the local body and 30% was going to the state government. Suppose ऐसे था. अब अगर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने सीधा ये जो ऑक्ट्रॉय ड्यूटी को बैन ही कर दिया, यहाँ पे बोला कि ऑक्ट्रॉय ड्यूटी चार्ज करेंगे नहीं, तो ऑक्ट्रॉय ड्यूटी की वजह से यहाँ पे ट्रैफिक बढ़ता है इन दैट व्हाट यू कॉल चेक नाका के उधर, टोल नाका के उधर. सो द गवर्नमेंट इफ दे से कि चलो ऑक्ट्रॉय ड्यूटी हम लोग बैन कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, देन द लोकल बॉडी विल हैव लॉट ऑफ रेवेन्यू हिट. मतलब उनका तो रेवेन्यू यहाँ पे अफेक्ट हो गया. 70% तो उनको ऑक्ट्रॉय ड्यूटी का उनको मिल रहा था यहाँ पे. So the local body can say then that, see, because of our loss in relation to octroi duty, we want the money from somewhere else. मतलब कहीं और से तो हम लोग को पैसा दो यहाँ पे ताकि हम लोग चलाएं यहाँ पे. So please, that is called compensatory grant. So the state government will pay to the local authority for any tax loss that the local body suffers, any revenue loss that local body suffers. उसको compensate करने के लिए जो state government pay करेगी उसको हम बोलते हैं यहाँ पे compensatory grant. Simple है यहाँ पे ये. So that is a 3 categories of grants. So simple question you can see here, 3 categories of grants. Simple है. आगे बढ़े. Now next is sir financial administration of local body. ये simple है कि सर अगर local body का financial administration अगर करना है तो उसमें what all points are very very important to be taken care of. So in this you have to remember the points in a simple manner. Simple ऐसे सोचना है यहाँ पे. कोई भी आप लोकल बॉडी मत पकड़ लिए. यू टेक अ नॉर्मल एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. उसमें 3 चीज आएगा यहाँ पे कि आपने बजट क्या बनाया, आपने बजट मतलब कितना पैसा साइड में रखने का प्लान किया, दैट इज बजट क्या बनाया आपने. उसके बाद ये बजट मतलब आपने कितना पैसा रखा हुआ है, तो बजट कितना बनाया. फिर बनाया होगा एक्सपेंडिचर क्या चल रहा है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एक्सपेंडिचर कंट्रोल. एंड फाइनली लास्ट पॉइंट यू विल से इज योर अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम. तो आपने कितना पैसा रखा साइड में, दैट इज बजट. उसमें से कितना खर्चा किया, ये रहा खर्चा किया, दैट इज कॉल्ड एक्सपेंडिचर कंट्रोल. उसका हिसाब किताब रखना है, इसको हम बोलते हैं अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम. तो बोलना बजटरी प्रोसीजर, एक्सपेंडिचर कंट्रोल एंड अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम. सिंपल है यहाँ पे ये. तो आपको ये 3 पॉइंट मिल जाएंगे यहाँ पे. एंड वेरी सिंपल टू रीड ऑल्सो. बजटरी प्रोसीजर, एक्सपेंडिचर कंट्रोल एंड अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम. इसमें ना बहुत सारे कीवर्ड्स हैं. सम यू नो हेवी वर्ड्स आर देयर व्हिच आई हैव हाइलाइटेड इन येलो इफ यू कैन सी. एंड एट द टाइम ऑफ टीचिंग इसके मैंने मीनिंग बताए होंगे. एंश्योर दैट दोस वर्ड्स यू आर डूइंग इट प्रॉपर्ली. ठीक है. काफी हेवी वर्ड्स यूज किया मॉड्यूल के अंदर भी. सो एंश्योर दैट दीज मीनिंग यू आर नोटिंग इट डाउन फॉर दीज वर्ड्स. अगर मैंने डायरेक्टली मीनिंग दिया नहीं है तो आप गूगल कर सकते हो, लेकिन दिस कीवर्ड्स इफ दे अपीयर इन योर आंसर इट इज मच बेटर. बढ़िया गया. ठीक है. लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन, दैट इज दिस. यहाँ पे दे हैव गिवन, एक सेकंड, जस्ट अ सेकंड प्लीज वेट. Okay, let's see this. Here they have given, sir, what is the audit program in relation to a local body? कि अगर local body है तो उसका audit program के अंदर क्या क्या होगा. So first, the local fund audit wing of the state government will do the audit of any municipal corporation normally. So अगर कोई state government है तो उनके state government में department होगा called local fund audit wing. And उनका वो ऑडिट करेंगे यहाँ पे नॉर्मल म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशंस का. बट इफ द म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन इज अ वेरी बिग म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन, जैसे मुंबई का म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन दैट इज बीएमसी, इट हैज ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ मनी एंड रेवेन्यू. You can take Bangalore also for that purpose. You can take Delhi also for that purpose. अभी इसके लिए you have to appoint what external auditors. ऑडिटर जो अपॉइंट होगा उसका मेन काम क्या है यहाँ पे देखने का कि लॉ रूल्स रेगुलेशन के हिसाब से हम एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं, जो भी खर्चा हो रहा है उसके हिसाब से हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. फॉर दैट द ऑडिटर विल चेक टू थिंग्स, दैट इज वेदर स्कीम्स, प्रोग्राम, प्रोजेक्ट, वॉट एवर वर्क दैट लोकल बॉडी इज डूइंग, वेदर फॉर दैट रेगुलर सैंक्शन इज टेकन. सैंक्शन मतलब परमिशन हैज बीन टेकन फ्रॉम द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और नॉट, और परमिशन हैज बीन टेकन फ्रॉम द अथॉरिटी, जो भी उनकी अथॉरिटीज है उनसे परमिशन लिया कि नहीं लिया. In the future, if some provision is required to be kept, पैसा अगर साइड में रखने की जरूरत पड़े, then whether that provision is authorized by any competent authority. That is what they should check. ठीक है, आगे. The goal is to reach the expected results कि जो हम लोग को purpose था वो हमारा achieve होना चाहिए. Let's say a local body is planning to make a bridge. So is the bridge made properly? That is called expected results. See, bridge being made properly is okay. That is one part of it. But जितना अपने बजट में कॉस्ट रखा था वो कॉस्ट के अंदर होना चाहिए. That is called financial control. So the expected results should be achieved keeping the financial control in mind. That is the main part here. Okay. Last में the auditor should report on something which I have called here as flavor. Flavor में क्या आएगा यहाँ पे? Financial statement का presentation. That is 1F. Next आएगा your there should be proper financial control. So adherence to financial control should be there. Legal and administrative requirements should be fulfilled. Value addition हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ, ऑर्डर ये चेक करेगा वैल्यू एडिशन है कि नहीं है. Errors and frauds should not be there, and resources misuse should not be there. Simple है यहाँ पे, इस तरीके से पॉइंट वर्क करेगा. I'll just show this last point to you. Very simple. देखो यहाँ पे वही लिखा हुआ है. Financial statement का presentation, financial control का strengths and weaknesses. Then you will get their legal and administrative requirement, whether it is fulfilled or not. Value is being fully received, and finally errors and fraud should be detected, and finally resources का misuse नहीं होना चाहिए. That is what they have given. Comfortable यहाँ पे ये? Why this flavor wala point we are doing it separately? Because if you look at the next question also which is there, that is called objectives of the local body audit. So if you check your notes, you get there a question called objectives of local body audit. उसमें भी same points है, उसमें bullet point में दिया हुआ है, लेकिन यही point दिया हुआ है, flavor वाले points ही लिखे हुए हैं. And if you check your notes, we have done the same thing itself. Okay, so ensure that you are doing this properly. That is basically this point. Comfortable till here? Okay, that completes this area in relation to local body ka audit. Why I'm telling you that this is very very important. See, you should know this part एकदम ही अच्छे से. That is the point which are there. So first we did the categories of grants. See this, categories of grants. So that is one question that can be asked. Categories of grants. Second question, that main questions that can be asked in the exam is from a financial administration point of view. Financial administration. Third question can come in relation to audit program. Audit program of local bodies. सही बात है. And the fourth question can come in relation to objectives of local body audit. Objectives of audit. Of audit of local bodies. बोलो clear एकदम यार? ठीक है? It can come in this manner. So you need to understand how to frame it and write it properly, and you have to, for that, know where the question is coming from. So out of these four, only a big question can come. Otherwise, if you read the local bodies normally, which are given in the notes, very very simple area is there. But four main questions are these. You have to do these for properly. A separate question can come in the examination. Everyone, tell me in the chat area. Very very clear. Very very simple. Please tell me yes or no. Very simple. Very easy. Harshita, you're unmuted. हर्षिता, you're unmuted. कोई क्वेरी है? चलो ठीक है. Okay, simple till here. Can we go ahead? Let's move forward. Now after this we did a very nice part called audit in relation to NGO. ठीक है? An audit of NGO का मैंने spread already दिया हुआ है यहाँ पे. That is how we'll do the planning in relation to the NGO. Program क्या रहेगा? So audit करते समय आप क्या क्या चीज का ध्यान रखोगे? And finally it is your receipt of income. ठीक है? ये करते quickly यहाँ पे. And this we have done in the story format. So I'll just quickly mark the points. And with that, just give you the gist of the story so that it is easy for you to recollect it. Okay. First of all, you're walking on the village road. ये अपना था village road story या तो फिर village road NGO story. So while planning the audit, the auditor may concentrate on the following. Planning मतलब होगा audit करने के पहले, तो auditor क्या चीज पे focus करेगा? Auditor will focus on the mission and vision of the NGO. Just a second, sorry for that. Auditor will focus on the mission and vision of the NGO. सही बात है यहाँ पे? Auditor will also see whether the relevant statutes in relation to the NGO are being fulfilled or not. Relevant statute was the वो अपना लेफ्ट हैंड साइड वॉल एंड राइट हैंड साइड वॉल इफ यू रिमेंबर. सो रेलेवेंट स्टैट्यूट्स इसमें आएगा अपना यहाँ पे the laws which we learned, that is your Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 1976, Societies Registration Act 1890, then you had Income Tax Act 1961, and finally rules related to the statutes. In your notes you had written it as FISR करके लिखा रहेगा, FISR. So you must be remembering there उधर अपन ने लिखा हुआ है Foreign Contribution Regulation 1976, Society Registration Act, Income Tax Act, and rules related to the statute. Now after that we had done the next part. Next part was what? Very simple. सर बाद में ना हम वो वॉचमैन से बात करते हैं. वॉचमैन says no because it's a private entity. Remember this? तो वो आएगा, he is talking about the legal form of the organization, and then after that we ask him why we should not enter. So he tells you the entire MOA, AOA rules and regulations. So you ask him, अरे आपको ये सब कैसे याद है? तो वो ही बोलता है कार्तिक सर का student and all those things, you know, and you both start rapping on one of our songs. Then because he is in favor of you now, because I'm the common what you call link, is student of mine, the watchman also. So what happens is I ask, you ask that person, uncle अभी तो अंदर जाके पूछना तो मुझे NGO कैसे काम करता है. So that uncle allows you to go inside. Inside there is an auntie who is working in the NGO. You ask auntie and ask her information regarding Om Pro Fubu. If you remember this, Om Pro Fubu. याद है? Organization charts, manuals, project and program guidelines, funding agencies, budgetary policies. ठीक है ना? फिर बाद में the auntie tells you, beta, 1 minute. So 1 minute is this minutes of meeting, and she gets you all the documents. जब ये वो documents आपको देती है यहाँ पे, तो the auntie is just simply asking you, will you able to understand all these documents? So she gives you all the reports, by the way. So 1 minute अंदर जाने के बाद she gives you all the reports. Then she asks you, beta, but will you be able to understand all these things? You say, yes, auntie, don't worry. I'm an accounting student. I'm doing CA course, so I'll understand the accounting system, procedures, internal control, internal checks. ये मुझे याद रहेगा, don't worry. After that, you sit in a corner and you see कि कुछ fraud का matter है कि नहीं है, and suddenly you find something which is crossing the materiality level. So that materiality level point you will remember, and इसकी वजह से you come and tell auntie, auntie देखो यहाँ पे एक गड़बड़ है. The auntie also looks at that गड़बड़ and says, बेटा क्या fraud ढूंढा आपने? You are an expert. You are an expert. And when auntie says this, तुम लोग ऊपर आ जाते हैं and you start flying. That is called previous audit report. Okay. तो हमने story में अपन ने ऐसे ही एक random story बना दिया था. In the class, I think you will remember the narration properly, and we must have done it in in depth. तो यहाँ पे भी revision कर रहे हैं. That's why I'm telling the story in just a gist manner. Okay. आगे बढ़े. That is basically in relation to planning the audit of an NGO. Now we are doing something called as audit program. So audit program में what are we looking into this part? So here in this we had seen that जोड़ी of two ऐसा मैंने देखा था. So first remember, let's say corpus fund, उसके साथ आपको याद करना है यहाँ पे earmark funds, corpus fund and earmark fund. Then you have to remember a reserve balance and a project or agency balance. Then loans and a fixed asset. Then investment inventory. याद है ये? Investment inventory. Investment inventory. Then you had cash bank. Then project and program expenses and establishment expenses. इस तरीके से वर्क करेगा. That is basically in relation to the audit program of an NGO. Last में था receipt of income of the NGO. So we had seen this point here. Again in this, if you had done a story, then we did a story. नहीं तो simple वैसे भी याद किया था अपन ने. If you have done a story, then we must have done the लकी डे स्टोरी. ठीक है, लेकिन अगर स्टोरी फॉर्मेट से मैंने नहीं करवा रहा, जैसे कुछ क्रैश को स्टूडेंट्स को आई मस्ट हैव नॉट डन इन स्टोरी फॉर्मेट टू सेव टाइम, and we must have just remembered in a simple manner. So in that case, just remember, first I got contribution and grants. So this is you going to the terrace and you feeding one pigeon. Then after that, fundraising program, you are feeding many pigeons. After that, you get the membership fees to take membership in the library. लेकिन उधर भी then library is selling magazine में you are able to see magazines, circulars, periodicals, तो वो आ जाएगा. And finally whatever interest or dividend you earn, you will check those, that is interest and dividend. ठीक है, इस तरीके से अपने वर्क किया था इस पर. That is basically this answer in relation to receipt of income. Clear एकदम ये? Okay, that completes your 3 answers in relation to NGO. Everybody please tell me in the chat area, very clear, yes or no, very comfortable. बढ़िया गया. Okay, can we go ahead now? चलो आ जाओ, just a second. बढ़िया गया. Now let's go and do hire purchase and leasing. ये थोड़ा end में रहेगा. We'll do that for diagram based इसके लिए. We'll complete that first and then we'll go ahead with the other areas. Come to hire purchase and leasing. Okay, let's start. Okay. Now hire purchase and leasing के केस में what all should the auditor basically check? So hire purchase transaction अगर रहेगा, first they have covered hire purchase. So hire purchase के केस में auditor क्या क्या check करेगा? First they have given that. Okay, तो आराम से मेरे साथ करना है. Please here first of all, the auditor will see whether the hire purchase transaction, hire purchase agreement is in writing or not. तो ये written है या नहीं है. Second, the auditor will check whether the date is mentioned correctly. Third, he will check whether hire purchase price, cash price is mentioned correctly. And fourth, whether details of the goods are mentioned correctly in the hire purchase agreement. Regarding the hire purchase price, the auditor will specifically check the number of installments, the amount of each installment, and the date of the installment. The auditor will check, and whether the payment is received regularly as per the agreement. This is what the auditor will check in relation to any hire purchase transaction. Okay, very simple diagram based answer. Next, I think we had done in this, that is, sir, what are the modalities of a lease transaction? तो lease transaction में क्या क्या modalities होता है? पहला आएगा आपका यहाँ पे जो lessee रहेगा, he will need an asset here to run his business. For his business, he needs an asset. But because the asset is costly, he cannot afford it by himself. So what he'll do is he'll first select the equipment with its fitness and specifications, मतलब with its model number, details, and all these things. The lessee will then approach the lessor directly or through the lease broking agency So directly or indirectly, and indirectly अगर जा रहा है तो lease broking agency के through जाएगा. Then the lessor and lessee, if they are agreeing to the terms, then they'll enter into a lease agreement where the details of terms of contract will be entered into. Now the lessee will place the order, that is, he will give the full amount to the manufacturer. Let's say the machine costs 1 crore rupees. So lessor will pay here the entire amount and he'll place the order. And the manufacturer will be asked to deliver the equipment at the lessee's site. Lessee का जो भी factory है वहाँ पे deliver करने बोलेंगे. Lessee का यहाँ पे 4 काम है. First is he has to pay the rental regularly. He has to keep the equipment in good condition. Lessee can take the warranties and or after sales service from the manufacturer. And finally, the asset after the period is over will retreat to the lessor, or there will be renewal of the agreement will happen. Okay, that is basically how the lease transaction in terms of finance lease works. उसके जो steps है वो ये है. Okay, that is called modalities of finance lease. Okay, let's go to the next area. Let's see this. ये modalities याद रखना. This is called steps in relation to finance lease. Okay, modality. Okay, let's go further. Let's start. Now we are entering the next part, that is in relation to, sir, in the case of any hire purchase transaction, we have seen what matter is there. Now we are going to see into lease transactions. अगर कोई lease transaction रहेगा, and if you are the auditor of the lessor, तो ये बंदा lessor है जो एक asset भाड़े पे दे रहा है, and this guy is the lessee. This is the person who is taking the asset on rental basis. So for lessor and lessee, what all will you check? But you have to think as if you are the auditor of the lessor. You are the auditor of the lessor. ठीक है ना? तो वो एंगल से सोचना. पहले अपन क्या करेंगे? We will first check the object clause of the lessor, whether the permission is given or not. Second, we'll do the credit analysis of the lessee. Third, we'll check the lease agreement in relation to the lessee equipment location, whether all the details are there or not. What is the return policy in relation to this lease agreement? Sir, regarding the amount, we'll check any deposit that is paid, the date of the transaction, any late charges, and finally, any advance that is paid. So regarding amounts, we'll check all these things. And finally, whether it prohibits any subletting, whether the agreement is prohibiting any transaction in relation to subletting of the asset. Okay, that is given in this part. Next, the lessee who is there, the lessee will fill the lease proposal form. The lessor will send an invoice to the lessee or ensure that the invoices are maintained properly after the invoices are entered into. And finally, when the lessee accepts the offer, basically the deal is done. It means the contract is now valid. Now, after that, see, the main asset, still the ownership is with the lessor. So the lessor will ensure that the insurance policies are there in place. And finally, the last point is that the directors of the lessee should be authorized to do this transaction. Okay. So we have done it in this flow, and I think the students who must have done this in the class with me, इसमें तो आपको पूरा वो याद होगा ही होगा. आई एम वेरी श्योर कि इसमें कुछ इशू नहीं है. ठीक है, बिकॉज द पोजिशनिंग इज वेरी वेरी डिस्टिंक्ट. ओके, everyone very very clear, yes or no? Please tell me in the chat area. Comfortable with this? That is in relation to the lease of your audit of lease transactions. Okay, now let's go ahead with the next part, that is in relation to the difference between finance lease and operating lease. So देखते हैं अभी finance lease operating lease में क्या क्या लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे. First they have said operating lease and here they are given finance lease. एक सिंपल कोड मैंने दिया था यहाँ पे called code pot. Okay, code pot खाली चेक करना है. कोड से पहले आएगा यहाँ पे कॉमन एग्जांपल्स, ओ से आ जाएगा ओनरशिप, ए से ए टी से आ जाएगा अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट, एंड बाद में पॉट से आ जाएगा यहाँ पे परचेज ऑप्शन. Then you will have O say operating or running expenses, and finally T से 2 पॉइंट आएंगे, term of the lease and tax benefit. ठीक है, and then you can go through the content because this was explained in the class and this is similar to AS19 that you see in accounts. Okay, so I don't think there will be any problem from that angle. Okay, very very comfortable. ठीक है, that completes your hire purchase and leasing transaction के entries. Everyone done? Please tell me in the chat areas. Please tell me comfortable till here. Okay, Sybil.